It was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives, a celebration of love, unity, and new beginnings. But for a Texas healthcare CEO and his bride, their wedding day became their final chapter. Hours after exchanging vows, their lifeless bodies were discovered, surrounded by the remnants of their dream ceremony. A power couple admired by many, their union was seen as the perfect match. But behind the opulence and charm lay a secret darker than anyone could have imagined, a secret that would unravel into a chilling tale of betrayal, jealousy, and murder. What happened on that fateful night? Who could commit such a heinous act on a day meant for joy? And what drove the perpetrators to cross the line from love to vengeance? Before we explore this shocking story of love and betrayal, make sure you subscribe to Horror and Crime. Like this video, share it with fellow true crime enthusiasts, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a case that will leave you questioning everything. Tonight, we uncover the mystery of the Red Wedding, a tragedy that shook the heart of Texas and left a trail of shattered lives in its wake. From the lavish beginnings to the gruesome end, this is a tale of ambition, revenge, and lives cut short by ruthless hands. David Montgomery, a prominent Texas healthcare CEO, was known for his charisma, ambition, and ability to command a room. At just 42, he had built a multi-million-dollar empire, earning respect not only in the boardroom, but also in the community. To his colleagues, he was a visionary leader. To his friends, a devoted confidant. Then there was Emma Harris, a 34-year-old event planner whose radiant personality and meticulous attention to detail had made her a rising star in her industry. Together, they were the picture of a modern power couple, successful, admired, and deeply in love. Their relationship seemed straight out of a fairy tale. They met at a charity fundraiser 3 years earlier, where Emma had been coordinating the event. Sparks flew instantly, and within months, they were inseparable. David and Emma became fixtures of the Texas social scene, their every move followed by adoring friends and curious spectators. But beneath the polished veneer, cracks were beginning to show. Friends close to the couple later revealed that David's relentless drive and Emma's growing frustration with his long work hours had created tension. And then there were whispers of something darker, jealousy, secrets, and long-standing grudges that threatened to overshadow their perfect union. Yet none of these signs prepared their friends or family for what would happen next. On April 15th, 2023, David and Emma tied the knot in a ceremony that could only be described as breathtaking. The venue was a sprawling vineyard outside Austin, Texas, complete with rolling hills, a sunset backdrop, and a guest list of over 200 people. It was everything they had dreamed of, but the joy was fleeting. Hours after the couple danced their first dance as husband and wife, tragedy struck. A staff member discovered their lifeless bodies in a secluded part of the venue, a scene that would haunt everyone who had been part of their special day. As investigators began piecing together the final hours of David and Emma's lives, they uncovered a tangled web of betrayal, resentment, and rivalries, secrets that not even their closest friends had known. How could a day meant to celebrate love and unity end in such devastation? Who stood to gain from this unspeakable act? And was the killer among the very people they trusted most? The wedding reception was winding down. Guests were dancing under a canopy of twinkling lights. Champagne flowed freely, and the couple's happiness seemed infectious. By all accounts, it was a celebration for the ages. But behind the laughter and music, something far more sinister was taking shape. At approximately 10:45 p.m., David and Emma slipped away from the party to take a private stroll through the vineyard. Witnesses recalled seeing them hand in hand, laughing as they disappeared into the darkness. It would be the last time anyone saw them alive. By midnight, a member of the catering staff stumbled upon a horrifying scene. David and Emma's bodies were found near a grove of trees, sprawled on the ground, their wedding attire stained with blood. The serene beauty of the vineyard had turned into a crime scene straight out of a nightmare. David had been shot twice at close range, once in the chest and once in the head. Emma's injuries were equally brutal. She had been strangled, her engagement ring ripped from her finger, leaving behind a deep bruise. The brutality of the attack stunned even seasoned investigators. But the killer didn't leave without making a statement. Scrawled on the back of a wedding program found near the bodies was a chilling message: "For what you've done." The words raised more questions than answers, hinting at a motive deeply rooted in anger and betrayal. As detectives combed through the evidence, it became clear that this was no random act of violence. The calculated nature of the crime suggested it had been planned, and the personal nature of the message pointed to someone with a vendetta against the couple. But who could harbor such resentment? Investigators quickly turned their attention to the guest list. With over 200 people in attendance, the suspect pool was vast. The couple's close friends, business partners, and even family members were interviewed. What emerged was a tangled web of potential motives and hidden tensions. One guest described a heated argument between David and one of his business partners earlier in the evening, overheard near the bar. Another revealed that Emma had confided in a bridesmaid about receiving anonymous threats leading up to the wedding. Each clue added a layer of complexity to an already baffling case. But the most compelling lead came from the security footage recovered from the venue. At 11:15 p.m., a figure dressed in dark clothing was seen entering the vineyard from a side entrance, bypassing the main celebration entirely. The footage was grainy, the figure's identity obscured, but it was enough to confirm one thing: the killer wasn't just attending the wedding. They had planned their entrance and exit meticulously. Yet, despite their careful planning, the killer made one crucial mistake. A single clue, left behind in their haste, would set investigators on a path to uncovering the truth. The discovery of David and Emma's bodies sent shockwaves through the community. Local law enforcement and forensic teams quickly descended on the vineyard, piecing together the events of that fateful night. The initial evidence pointed to a targeted attack, but unraveling the mystery would prove to be anything but simple. The first breakthrough came with the discovery of the wedding program bearing the chilling message: "For what you've done." Investigators immediately honed in on the guest list, questioning everyone who had attended the wedding. But as the interviews progressed, it became clear that nearly everyone had something to hide. Among the guests was Andrew Klein, a longtime business associate of David's. Andrew had been locked in a bitter legal dispute with David over a failed healthcare merger. Witnesses reported seeing the two men arguing at the bar just hours before the murders. But when questioned, Andrew claimed he had left the reception early, citing a personal emergency. Then there was Emma's ex-fiancé, Michael Reese, who had been invited to the wedding despite their rocky breakup years earlier. Michael was spotted lingering near the couple's table during the reception, and several guests noted his apparent discomfort with the festivities. When confronted by investigators, Michael's response raised even more questions. "I loved Emma. I would never hurt her. But I told her this marriage was a mistake." While these interviews provided potential motives, the most compelling clue came from the vineyard itself. Forensic teams found muddy footprints leading from the crime scene to a side gate, a path not used by any of the wedding guests. The prints were traced to a pair of designer shoes that had been purchased only days before the wedding by an unidentified individual using a stolen credit card. Then came the security footage. At 11:15 p.m., cameras captured a figure dressed in black entering the vineyard through the side gate. The footage was blurry, but one detail stood out. The suspect carried what appeared to be a small duffel bag, likely containing the weapon used in the attack. Forensic analysis revealed traces of gunpowder residue near the area where the bag had been discarded. But it wasn't just the physical evidence that unraveled the case. As detectives delved deeper into David and Emma's lives, they uncovered a web of betrayal that had been hidden beneath the surface. Financial records revealed that David had been funneling money into a private account, funds he had kept secret even from Emma. Investigators traced the account to a company registered under an alias, connected to one of David's business rivals. Meanwhile, Emma's bridesmaid, Rachel, came forward with a shocking revelation. In the weeks leading up to the wedding, Emma had confided in her about receiving anonymous threats. She didn't want to worry David, Rachel explained. She thought it was just someone trying to scare her. But the threats, written in crude, angry letters, suggested a deeper connection to the couple's shared past. The final piece of the puzzle came in the form of DNA evidence. A single strand of hair, found on Emma's dress, matched a suspect already on law enforcement's radar. It belonged to someone who had attended the wedding, someone with both the motive and the means to carry out the crime. As the pieces fell into place, investigators began to realize the scope of the betrayal. This wasn't just a crime of passion, it was a meticulously planned act of revenge. But the most shocking revelation was still to come, one that would leave even the most seasoned detectives questioning everything they thought they knew. The arrest of Andrew Klein, David Montgomery's former business partner, sent shockwaves through the Texas community. After weeks of speculation, the pieces of the puzzle were finally coming together. Prosecutors alleged that Andrew, fueled by resentment over a failed merger and financial losses, had orchestrated the murders in a calculated act of revenge. The trial, dubbed the Red Wedding case by the media, became a national spectacle. Every detail of David and Emma's lives, as well as Andrew's bitter history with the couple, was laid bare for the world to see. Prosecutors wasted no time in presenting their case, which hinged on three critical pieces of evidence: the muddy footprints, the stolen credit card used to purchase the suspect's shoes, and the chilling note found at the crime scene. But it was the security footage that delivered the most damning blow. Though grainy, the footage clearly showed Andrew's distinctive gait and build, as well as the duffel bag he had carried to the vineyard. Forensic analysts testified that the gunpowder residue found near the crime scene matched the residue found on the bag, linking Andrew directly to the murders. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Andrew's defense team attempted to shift the narrative. They argued that Andrew had been framed by another guest with a grudge against David, someone who had access to the stolen credit card and knew Andrew's connection to the couple. The defense also highlighted the lack of a murder weapon, which had never been recovered. But the prosecution's case remained unshaken. Witnesses testified to Andrew's erratic behavior in the weeks leading up to the wedding, including an incident where he had threatened David during a heated phone call. And then there were the financial records. Prosecutors revealed that Andrew had made multiple withdrawals from an offshore account shortly before the wedding, believed to be payments for the crime. Perhaps the most emotional moment of the trial came when Rachel, Emma's bridesmaid, took the stand. Through tears, she recounted the threats Emma had received and how she had dismissed them as harmless. "I wish I had told someone sooner," Rachel said. "Maybe they'd still be alive." Her testimony left the courtroom in stunned silence. After 3 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 2 days before returning their verdict: guilty on all charges. Andrew Klein was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. For the families of David and Emma, it was a moment of justice, but not closure. The aftermath of the case left scars that would never fully heal. David's family struggled to come to terms with the betrayal of someone they had once trusted. Emma's parents, who had been planning for their daughter's future as a wife and mother, were left with only memories of what could have been. The case also sparked a broader conversation about trust, ambition, and the lengths people will go to settle scores. Could this tragedy have been prevented? Were the warning signs ignored? And how well do we really know the people we invite into our lives? For the friends and family of David and Emma, the answers may never come. But their story serves as a haunting reminder that even the most joyous occasions can hide the darkest truths. The story of David Montgomery and Emma Harris is one of love, success, and ambition, but also of betrayal, vengeance, and tragedy. What should have been a day filled with joy and celebration became a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath even the most picturesque surfaces. Andrew Klein's actions were rooted in resentment and greed, but the scars of his choices reach far beyond his prison sentence. Families were shattered, friendships irreparably damaged, and a community left to grapple with the loss of 2 lives that held so much promise. The Red Wedding case raised questions that extend beyond this tragic event. How do we detect and address the warning signs of unchecked ambition and grudges that fester in silence? How can trust be preserved in relationships, whether professional, personal, or otherwise, when betrayal seems to come from the least expected places? For the families of David and Emma, justice was served, but the void left behind is one that no court decision could ever fill. Their story reminds us that while justice may bring accountability, it cannot erase the pain of what has been lost. Now, we turn to you. What do you think drove Andrew Klein to commit such a calculated and heinous act? Could anything have been done to prevent this tragedy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective keeps these conversations alive. If this story gripped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Horror and Crime Deep Secrets. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on the most shocking cases that leave us questioning the boundaries of trust and betrayal. Next time, we dive into a family torn apart by betrayal that cuts deeper than most can imagine. Sheriff Mark Edwards dedicated his life to upholding the law, but nothing could prepare him for the devastating discovery that his wife was pregnant with his brother's child. What happens when loyalty collides with heartbreak and the lines between justice and vengeance blur? Join us as we uncover the shocking twists of bloody betrayal, a sheriff's heartbreak. It's a story that will leave you questioning the bonds of family and the meaning of justice. Until then, stay vigilant and stay curious.